Hey everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and I am back again tonight because I just had to stop and share my experience that I had yesterday at Fan Expo Cleveland. And I tell you what, we used to go to a lot of Comic Cons. You know, 10 to 5 years ago, my wife and I and our children, we had a pretty successful run where I was able to meet Will Wheaton, Gates McFadden, Michael Dorn, LeVar Burton, Brent Spiner, Marina Sirtis, Nichelle Nichols, Walter Koenig. We met Robert Duncan McNeil. We met Dwight Schultz. We met Terry Farrell. I think that's it. Oh, we met William Shatner. Of course, we met William Shatner. Again, we had a huge run. And then we faded off of the con circuit for a little bit, and it was honestly because we had our third child, and it time, and it wasn't a thing we could do anymore, right? I mean, if you have them, you know. But we came back, and who did we came had to come back for? Jonathan Frakes, right? I've been kind of watching, just to see who's coming around, and in seeing that he was coming to Cleveland, I was like, this is my shot. This is my opportunity. I got to seize it because I probably, I don't know if I'll have another chance, in the near future to meet Mr. Frakes. And again, having met all the rest of the TNG main cast except for Patrick Stewart, this was the one I was missing, right? This is the final piece of my TNG puzzle for me. So just an absolute joy to be able to get up there and do that again. And of course, as you can see here, over there, that way, you know where it's at. You can see it. It's up there. I went up there in uniform. It's a fun time to do that. Unfortunately, forgot my communicator. Left it sitting right here on my desk. See, where do I got it sitting here now? Here it is. Look, got my communicator. Didn't have it. So I got to tell you this. I'll just kind of tell you guys like the general story. So first off, it was my wife, my three children. I don't think my littlest kids were too excited about going. I know my oldest son definitely was. They were kind of like, They'd never really been to a con before, or what if they did, too young to really remember. So we drive up to Cleveland. On the drive in, I tell you what, you got to pay attention. You're driving, you are a driver, you've always got to pay attention, all right? I'm on this freaking 4-lane highway in Cleveland. Everybody in the world feels that they have to go super fast, and I don't know why. Just go the speed limit. Everybody chill out. Chill out, right? So anyway, I'm cruising the speed limit. I'm keeping a minimum safe distance from all these fools, right? I signal to get over, and this jerk comes flying over into my lane, and thanks only to my freaking keen reflexes and instinct was I able to swerve out of the way of this jerk before he freaking sideswiped us in the middle of a freaking 4-lane highway, right? That would have been terrible. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you this, just because, I don't know. If you take anything from this story, slow down. Slow down. If you go fast, slow down. And second off, pay attention when you're driving, okay? Because everybody else on the road is apparently just a big idiot that wants to go fast. However, we made it to Cleveland safe and sound, no problem there. We were able to... the good thing about that is you're off the highway and you're almost right there to the convention center. Parking is convenient. You walk right across the street, you're in. Oh, it'd been a while since I'd been to a big con, to be honest with you, and I'd forgotten what an awful sea of people it is. And when you have to navigate that sea of people with 3 young people as well, oh boy, alright. So that did make it a little bit more difficult, but we get there and we were boom, let's head straight for the autographs. We need to get that done first, right? I mean, that's what I'm here for, you know? And of course, the entrance is here, and the autographs are here on the complete other side of the building. So here we have to wade our way through this massive sea of humanity, but we finally make it to the back. My wife is able to meet up with her friend who came all the way down from Buffalo, which I thought was awesome. And we're able to see there in the back corner Gates McFadden and Jonathan Frakes. And the line was not even that bad, right? Maybe waited a little bit less than 5-10 minutes, and I was right up there meeting number one himself. And I have to tell you guys, and if you don't know, I'm a Riker guy. I've been a Riker fan my whole life. When I was a kid, I had a cardboard cutout of him that I eventually, I think, used to throw hatchets at when I was a teenager. But, that's how things go. But, again, I was such a huge Riker. And again, I'm still a huge Riker, Jonathan Frakes fan, just in regards to his long and huge role as Riker throughout TNG, a little bit of Deep Space Nine, kind of. Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, of course, huge coming back on that. And his directing work has been fantastic. If you look at his all the episodes that he has directed, and of course the feature films, Insurrection and First Contact, are you kidding me? And I made sure to say all these things to him too. But anyway, let's get back to how it started. So we get up there, we're in line. It's our turn. We get up there, and I pick out the basic 8x10. Let me see if I can show you guys. I don't think the light's going to be good enough. Oh yeah, it's fine. You can see it up there. Look, there it is. That's it. I put them right next to Marina. I think that's appropriate. It says, "To Josh, go boldly, Jonathan Frakes." I will, sir. I will indeed. Anyway, I get up there to meet him. He greets me with "Hello, Commander," because I was wearing my 3 pips. And then he hits me hard. Ooh. Not physically, of course, but "Your pips are on the wrong side." What have I done? And then I jokingly say, "And I lost my communicator as well, too," right? So I'm a bit of a mess here, sir, but we made it nonetheless. And again, he was a joy to talk to, just like a very happy, gregarious person. Exudes joy. Very, very fun to be around. I stammered some things and said some things. Just basically, I'm pretty sure I told him that I did love him. But, not in like a weird way. Just I love him and all he's done for Star Trek, in the acting, the directing, everything that he's brought to the franchise. And I think he said that I was too kind and was just very nice and very gracious. And I think just kind of got a kick, too, about how excited I was just to meet him. And then as I walked away, as I was looking at the picture, and I was so excitedly showing my family the picture, and I kind of turned back and I could see his little smile, that he was getting a kick out of that as well. So, boy, that was great. That was great. So, I felt like, too, like, this day, my family kind of totally gave to me, right? I dragged them through this giant con of people, and they just kind of went along willingly. They were happy to do it, and they didn't give me any trouble. And so after this, I'm like, well, hey guys, do you guys want to go and listen to the Star Trek people talk now? They're doing a panel over here, and if we leave now, we can wade through all these people, and we can make it over there in time. And they're like, well, sure. Woo, let's go. So anyway, we go on over to the other side of the freaking thing. We get in this big old line for this panel in the main hall of the exhibition hall there. And, we finally were let in. We get into our seats, and we're sitting down waiting. And then the MC comes out, and he kind of talks for a little bit. And then he introduced Jonathan and Gates, and they come out. Now, I've never been to one of these before. Every con I've ever went to, they really didn't have a lot of this going on. This is probably like one of the biggest ones I've been to. So this was excellent. This was so cool just to... And, they're so good at this kind of stuff because they've been doing it for so long. They've got this obviously the TNG cast, and I think a lot of the Star Trek cast, they have this relationship. They have this kind of banter with each other, and with the TNG cast, I think it is especially so. And it was just a wonderful little, the host asked some questions, prompted them to tell some stories. They told some funny stories. They were asked some questions. I just Jonathan Frakes was hilarious. He was at first also complaining about the lights, and he made them. They had to turn them out. Like he was up there like, someone do something about these freaking lights, But he said the actual word, right? And I just thought that was fantastic. And he had them eventually turn them down, and then they turned up the house lights to kind of even things out so that they could see us and we could see them. And again, it was just fantastic. They told some stories from the old show, some stories from coming back for Picard, and I especially liked that and how they talked about Terry Matalas, who was like the showrunner there, and what he brought to it, and just he loved TNG too, right? And you could feel that with Picard season 3, and how he brought all the characters together, and how it all just worked and weaved into this perfect little story, right? It was fantastic. So again, if you have the opportunity to do this, do it. I know that I will for sure. But also, man, cons are rough, right? So after this, we had my photo opportunity, right? I was going to have my photo opportunity, as you can see here. I couldn't get the whole family in, so I said, my oldest son, do you want to be in it? So he is in the picture. He's just on the other side there. And I'm like, I'm just going to show me and Jonathan for the channel. But my son is hanging out in there as well. He was in line with me, and I was glad to have him there. So, and really glad that he's in the picture with me too. But again, we wait in line, and again, these photo op things, it's like you don't have a chance to talk or anything like that. But it's just a fun experience for me, because I really do feel he kind of like puts off this very positive energy, and just getting to stand up there, getting a picture taken again, and just thank you, and then his thank you in response felt heartfelt, and just again, the whole thing was kind of like I felt like I had completed something, and I really have. I have met all of the TNG main cast, technically, that I'm probably going to meet. Barring some fantastic miracle where I run into Patrick Stewart somehow, which I don't see happening. But, it could happen. I'm not putting anything out of the realm of possibility. But meeting Jonathan Frakes, and meeting him last as well, too, to kind of like cap off the whole thing, was amazing. Now, I would love to go back and do more cons, but they gotta be big on Trek. They gotta be big on Trek, right? I would love to go to Vegas, but realistically, that's something that has to be planned multiple years and saved in advance. That's there's so much that has to go into that. But can you imagine that? So many stars, so much going on. Like everybody is there. Everybody. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I wouldn't. That would be amazing. But this experience alone, with these 3 things, and again, I felt like it was a gift for me, right? Because other than that, everybody was kind of ready to go. Like, nobody wanted to try to wait around and look at the booths, find more stuff. We tried to spend some time looking at some art, looking at some things, but man, it was just a crazy amount of people. Oh, I will say, I did get to stop by the USS Challenger's Federation booth. So I'm a member of the Federation of International Federation of Trekkers, and we have chapters all over the world. I'm part of the Sandusky, Ohio chapter. The Cleveland chapter was set up there. They had the shuttlecraft Galileo. They had picture opportunities set up. They were raising money for some local charity. I forget what they were doing it for. So I stopped by, said hello to them. I took a picture, and again, glad to see them out doing the right thing, right? Going out there and doing things to help people, which is what the Federation's about. So again, man, what a time, what an experience, and what a what a fine gentleman Jonathan Frakes is. Just like, again, he exuded, like, I felt like the joy radiating off of him towards me. You know, in the meeting, in the picture, in the little talking, you know, Gates as well. And obviously, and I would have met her again. But, I mean, it's expensive, right? I probably, you know, she's a nice enough person. I probably could have just walked up and said hello. But then I would have felt bad because, like, you know, they're there to make money too, not just a chit chat with fans or whatever, right? But I bet they probably would have. She would have, probably. I don't know. Bill Shatner was there too, but I've already met Bill Shatner twice. And I love him. He's a great guy, but I don't need to meet him again, right? Anyway, man, I want to meet some more DS9 and Voyager people now too. But that's probably only going to happen in Vegas. So we got to get there someday. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant about Fan Expo Cleveland 2026, where I got to meet Jonathan Frakes, number one, my number one. As always, my friends, live long and prosper. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.